Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to this month's edition of Artist Alchemy. I'm David Reed. I'll be your host for what I know is going to be a great conversation with the members of the bluegrass band Broken Compass. What's alchemy anyway? I always like to remind us it's this medieval pseudoscience that it's all about transforming something in a mysterious or impressive way. I like to think of that as kind of what artists do, whatever their medium may be. So good afternoon. This amazing young, formerly trio, now quartet, Broken Compass, will be making their debut at the Sutter Theater Center for the Arts on June 4th. Welcome to you all.
Hello.
Thank you.
Just so happy to be here.
Oh, we're excited to have you all. Now that we've got all the audio issues worked out, you can see most of their names, or at least partial names, but let me just do a quick round of introductions. Kyle Ledson, I can see you, heard you loud and clear. Django Ruckrich, Mei Lin Heirendt, and newly added band member Sam Jacobs. Great to see you all. I'll let you respond or not as you wish, but we're still kind of at the tail end of COVID, although my son just came down with it, so it's not over yet. How's it been for you all as, performing musicians and young people and dealing with school and COVID? Anybody want to share COVID experiences?
Yeah, I'll start. It's been a wild couple years. Like for me, I graduated high school through COVID, and so that whole transition was pretty trippy, but it kind of opened the door for all of us to start playing together, and so that was kind of a positive that came out of it.
Well, that's right, because you actually formed the group during COVID. I didn't think about that. Duh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our first gig was a live stream for the CBA, which is the California Bluegrass Association, and so that was that wouldn't have happened through COVID, I don't think either. And so,
wow.
Yeah.
Anybody else have something to share about this crazy COVID experience we've all had to endure?
Sure. I don't want this to echo too much. Can you hear us?
Perfect.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we both go to the same high school. It's been pretty crazy, like Kyle said, especially like I started with high school my freshman year and it was all online for the first year, but definitely gave me more time to practice. So I'm pretty grateful for that. I was, on Zoom with like my mandolin or guitar, just like hidden from the camera the whole during class. But
oh gosh, I love it.
It was pretty fun.
Making the best of a bad situation, right? That's great. Sam, how about you? How'd you get through it?
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of playing or performing, obviously, during the thick of it, but it was, as Mei Lin said, a good opportunity to practice, and that was a big one for me. I was kind of the silver lining, I guess, of that time period, was able to really dig in on bass, and me coming from more of a jazz experience or like jazz background as far as playing, I was able to tap into different genres and different styles and
really make the transition with that extra time.
It was good in that way. Yeah,
that's great. So you all formed the group in 2021, right during COVID. So what was the inspiration to play bluegrass? Why bluegrass? I mean, at what point did you all get together and say, let's start a bluegrass band? I mean, where did that come from? I'm just fascinated.
Well, we've all been growing up playing bluegrass. Our parents basically all got us into it, and there's a lot of really cool bluegrass festivals in California, namely the Father's Day Music Festival out in Grass Valley. And we've all been going to those places since we were little and like jamming. And me and Django have been playing since we were little, very little.
Oh, wow.
And so we all have that, the bluegrass background kind of in our blood. And so when we initially played together, it was just because we all knew we could jam, and we just did a couple sessions and had a lot of fun with it and thought we could take it.
I mean, somehow it spoke to you and resonated. I mean, that type of music. I mean, I want to say it's not for everybody, although I know some of the, when people tell me they don't like bluegrass, I bust out New Grass Revival and, and Alison Krauss and tell me you don't like this, honestly, right? I mean, come on. And then what you all are doing. So, okay. So it really just got into your souls, huh? At an early age. Wow. And Sam, are you the newcomer to the bluegrass genre, or have you been exposed to it during your musical career?
Yeah, actually, I'm also kind of in the same boat there. I've grown up listening to bluegrass largely from my parents, getting me exposed
Oh, you did?
to
Okay.
that. So,
All right.
yeah, it's always had a special place in my heart as well. And I've been playing it a little more recently.
Spoke to you. Now look at you, right?
Yeah.
Sam, do you have a volume control by any chance? Are you able to?
Is it a little quiet?
You're a little soft, yeah. If you
How's
do.
that? Yeah,
Oh,
I can
better. Sorry,
turn it up a little bit.
Earlier, I was a little shy.
Yeah,
I didn't want
no,
to
that's
interrupt,
okay.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you're about the same level.
All right.
As everybody else here, I think. Fabulous. All right, so this isn't something y'all just picked up and said, "Hey, we'll go play bluegrass and make a few bucks." I mean, this is just something you truly, truly love to do. I mean, did you do any classical training on your instruments to any extent, or you just picked up your instruments? And I mean, how did you begin as musicians, let alone bluegrass musicians?
Mei Lin, do you want to start with that one?
Sure. I did the Suzuki method on violin for about 4 or 5 years. I started when I was 7 on classical violin. I was in the Music in the Mountains Youth Orchestra for a while. And that was a super great experience. Definitely appreciate that I started with classical, just with working with people and conductors and like being able to read sheet music. I feel like it is really helpful. So yeah, when I was like 11 or 12, I switched mainly to bluegrass, but I don't regret that.
Great. And remind me, you mentioned you play mandolin and violin and any other instruments?
I mean, I'm mainly a fiddle player, but definitely play a little bit of mandolin and guitar as well. I write songs mainly on guitar, so yeah.
And I know we want to talk about your original compositions too. What a technical question? What's the difference between a violin and a fiddle? Kyle knows this one, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a way you play it. I mean, the instrument itself is basically identical, but I think it's more of a stylistic thing, and depending on
the answer I heard was a bottle of bourbon. Y'all are too young to drink, right? I know you might be old enough. Sorry,
you can't spill beer on a violin.
Right. There you go. Django, what instruments do you play? I'm saying instruments. You're all multi-instrumentalists, right? Sorry. Okay, we'll come back to Django. Mei Lin's doing technical support in her spare time as well. So, Kyle, did you have any classical training in your background?
Yeah, I also started on violin and I did the Suzuki method. I don't think I went as far as Mei Lin did. I always struggled reading music and like following along in that sense, and so around 6 I switched over to mandolin and started doing that.
Great.
And taking that up as my main instrument, and then I also play guitar too.
Okay. And Sam, you're on bass. Now, you playing stand-up, traditional upright bass with a group, or electric, or what are you doing?
Yeah, right now I'm just playing electric bass with the group.
Oh, okay.
And but yeah, I also play many different instruments. I play guitar and handful of others, percussion and.
Fantastic. Okay, well that great. Well, when Mei Lin's ready, she'll let us know, and we'll get Django on here. But in the meantime, so tell me about the band's name. Where did the name Broken Compass come from?
Well, are you guys ready to touch on that? I think it was mainly Django and Mei Lin that came up with the name initially.
Oh, okay. Well, we can come back to that.
Love to hear. my interpretation of it is, it's Broken Compass Bluegrass, and we kind of take our music in a different direction from like traditional bluegrass. And so I've always thought of the name Broken Compass as like you kind of went off on a different road.
But it's not like you lost yourselves. It's like you're clearly on a, on a path. So.
Yeah, you're not on that set path,
I like it. I like it a lot. So are you all like students of bluegrass? I mean, I know a little bit, but I mean, are you like deep into the traditions, or I mean, how do you take your how do you interpret your take on bluegrass and what's come before?
I know we all have different approaches to it, which I think is like really cool. I was raised a lot more in the Grateful Dead jam band direction. That's what my parents grew up on, and that's definitely not the case for Mei Lin. She's definitely geared a lot more towards the traditional sense, and I a lot of times you see in these bands it's kind of just one or the other, and I like how we're able to kind of mesh these different styles and bring in different aspects of the genre, because it's a really broad and like there's a lot of different subgenres and styles. And I like.
What's the Dead version? I read in some of the promotional material. Jamgrass, is that?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Will we get samples of those different genres in your concert? Do you cover the bases?
Yeah, definitely. We have all different types of stuff. We all write music too, and so taking in all those different influences from the different styles. And yeah, we play a lot of traditional stuff as well, and so it kind of all fits together. And we'll play traditional songs in a more progressive way sometimes too. Just trying to switch it up.
That's the thing I love about great material in any genre, to have it be able to be reinterpreted, by, like in your case, the next generation of bluegrass culture bearers. Hey, I like that. You're taking it forward, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't realize it had. I knew it was kind of a southern thing, right? The whole name bluegrass, like what Kentucky's the bluegrass state, and growing up, I heard some Bill Monroe and Ralph Stanley and the Bluegrass Boys and all of that, and it's just it's always been there. And a couple of friends I had that played bluegrass. In fact, one of them, a woman I went to college with in Southern California, she now lives in Nashville, and has always made a living. Always had a day job, but always played, had some great musicians, of course, in Nashville to work with. And almost every summer for years, she puts together a nice little European tour, France mainly, and the UK, and, pays for the trip and then some, and just has and there's a huge following over there as well, as you may know. It's certainly gone way beyond the shores of the U.S. as far as international interest. So, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. There's also a huge scene out in Japan and a lot of other places. Yeah.
Didn't know.
It's really cool to see.
All right. Sounds like they're back. Almost.
I think
there we are.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for keeping working on that. Django, just to circle back, what instruments do you play?
Yeah, so I'm mainly a guitar player.
Okay.
And that was kind of what I started on. And grew up putting most of my time and energy into, probably. But I also played mandolin, and I used to play fiddle for a while, but then kind of gave that up to focus more on guitar and mandolin.
Great.
But yeah.
Fantastic. And can I get this question out of the way? Tell me about your name.
Yeah, my parents just really, they were into Django Reinhardt, and they really thought it was a cool name. And they had no idea I was going to be a guitar player, but that was just a happy accident.
But you don't have the D in your name.
Yeah, but
we don't need to talk about that.
We don't need.
Right. Oh my gosh!
No, I do.
It's spelled
on the birth certificate.
All right.
But
hey, great name, and like you wear it well. So you don't have a brother named Stefan, do you? Like Stefan Grappelli?
No.
Oh, okay. Just checking. I mean, you might have a.
Could get Mei Lin to change her name.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great. Thanks for indulging me in that one.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we got the instruments covered. You got Sam, the new bass player. So, Talk about the vocal aspect of bluegrass. You know, it's pretty unique. I won't try to. My son's a musician, and he understands what I read much better than I do. So, but talk about it again. And my sensibility is, you know, like that angelic voice of someone like Alison Krauss. But even the old timey sound. I think they kind of call it that. Don't they? I mean, in the genre, the old timey, the Ralph Stanleys and those folks. So what? Talk about the vocals.
Well, traditionally, bluegrass is like a 3-part harmony,
Okay.
with your lead and tenor and baritone. A lot of bands like Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver will do 4-part harmonies, but that's kind of reserved for like the gospel aspect
Interesting.
of
Okay.
this music. But yeah, it's mainly just what works for each individual band. I feel like with us, I'm usually singing the top part, even if I'm singing melody, and then these guys will stack beneath me.
Yeah. The stacking.
Yeah.
You talked about the stacking of the voices. Yeah. And
Yeah.
a couple of your YouTube videos, and you all sing, right? Sam, do you sing?
I do. I haven't sung with these guys yet, but maybe down the road. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I like that aspect that, everybody gets to chime in and sing along and do their parts, but that stacking of the voices is an interesting concept. I love that. What about different themes? And before we do that, talk about your original compositions. I mean, where do those come from? What inspires you to write a piece? So, sounds like you're pretty familiar with the repertoire as it exists. How are you broadening that? Where do you get ideas for your own compositions?
I draw a lot from things outside of like the genre I'm playing. I take a lot of inspiration from like rock and roll and jazz and things like that, and I try to do something somewhat unique. And there's a lot of like inspiration in like a nature sense out where we live in such a beautiful place. There's a lot of cool things to write about and stuff that I might miss out on if I was in a city or something like that. So there's cool things like that. And then also just being for a while writing all these songs and being a teenager and being very angsty and having a lot of love songs and love tragedies to write,
Love and loss, like life, nature.
Even if I haven't necessarily dealt with anything too traumatic, but
figuring out the meaning of life right at the grassroots level. Yeah. Perfect. Do you all write, or Kyle, are you the primary Mei Lin, I think you said you write as well, right?
Yeah, we all write.
You do? Okay.
It's a lot of Kyle's material. I think he's been writing for the longest. But yeah, we're all trying to get as much original material in there as possible. I guess for me, it's a lot of just pretending I'm someone else and writing from their perspective.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of my ideas will just come to me at like 3 a.m., the most inconvenient times.
That's my best time.
Gotta roll with it.
Interesting hearing a young person say that. It's my running joke. 3 a.m. I figured out how to do something, or what to say on the grant I'm working on, or whatever the case may be. So pretty interesting. Wow, young person with that 3 a.m. think time. Cool. Very cool. So you said you're going to do some of your original compositions in the concert, and then of course some of the classics from the repertoire. I mean, what else about bluegrass? Let's say you're talking to that person that says, "Oh, bluegrass, I don't like bluegrass." They have a perception of it. What's the elevator pitch? How do you? I mean, aside from giving them some things to listen to, but what would you say to? I'm sure you've had this question before. What do you say to that person, young or old, that hey, why bluegrass? Why should I pay any attention to that? It's not my thing.
I mean, I would say that there's a lot more going on than you might realize. Like, there's a lot of different styles of bluegrass and a lot of cool different things you can check out, and that, like, I think a lot of people don't know necessarily what it is when they have that. Like a lot of people haven't listened to like straight ahead bluegrass when they think of that. A lot of times people's perception of what it is a lot different than what it actually is. I think the only way you can really decide is if you've heard enough of it, you know.
Yeah. I think people make those snap judgments. Yeah. Anybody else want to sell me on bluegrass? Why should I listen to bluegrass?
I think that's kind of the same thing with country. I know a lot of people who don't like country, or so they say, but all they've really heard is the mainstream pop country that's super popular today in the Nashville scene and stuff like that, but not like country like Merle Haggard and George Jones and you know, some of the oldies,
Or I bust out Raul Malo and the Mavericks, or Asleep at the Wheel, Texas Swing, if you all are into that. And, you know, it's like, okay, you tell me you don't like this, you know, come on. I love that idea. And you know, we try a lot of different things in our theaters here, and we understand that not everything's for everybody. And we had our biggest concert of the year has been a mariachi orchestra out of Sacramento 2 weeks ago. My gosh. Sold out, all-female mariachis bonitas, and just fabulous, complete with folklorico dancers. So it was a whole show, and the place we were oversold, in fact. But we want to pack them in for for this concert. If you were gonna, who would you send somebody to that said to listen to, aside from Broken Compass, if you were trying to convince them that bluegrass might be worth a listen? Who are some of your top picks in the genre?
I'd say probably like people like Billy Strings, Molly Tuttle, kind of, Green Sky Bluegrass. People who are kind of like doing more jam, progressive, like drawing inspiration from rock and roll and Grateful Dead.
Notes. Molly who? What was Molly's name?
Molly Tuttle. Yeah.
I saw this meme about Billy Strings a little while ago, where like all these arrows were just pointing to Billy from like people who love trad bluegrass and people who are into more like old-timey and then metalheads and then Grateful Dead fans. So he's kind of combined this new crowd out of a bunch of different genres.
Okay, he's on my list. I got to check him out. I learn something every day, so thank you. I'm already in, so this will just broaden my my repertoire. So any plans for a recording CD? You got a recording date coming up, or?
Oh yeah, we're working on it as we speak. Me and Sam are both majoring in recording arts at Chico State. And,
you are? That's convenient. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a nice little help out with this type of career. And yeah, we've been working just at my house in my basement, recording away. Had a couple dates down already, and hopefully trying to get this thing out pretty soon, whatever the release ends up being.
What? How often do you guys get together to rehearse or whatever, play together, jam? I mean, is it regular schedule or just whenever you can fit it in with other things?
Quite a lot, especially with recording lately. It's been at least every week, and then we'll have shows every weekend. So
are you playing really regularly? I mean, there are a lot of gigs.
Yeah, especially during the summer, we've got at least one, if not two, shows a weekend.
No kidding. That's great. And it was encouraging, and I haven't paid enough attention. I mean, I tune in as best I can to what's going on locally and across the state, but with our other arts organizations that we work with. But it's encouraging to hear that there's a real bluegrass scene here in the state, locally and regionally, and I really didn't have a clue. So, but what's the festival? Strictly Bluegrass? But that's not really just bluegrass, though, right?
Yeah, it's hardly strictly bluegrass.
Hardly strictly bluegrass. That's right.
Yeah,
I know. My daughter goes. She lives in the Bay Area. And
yeah, they have some cool bluegrass acts roll through, but yeah, it's definitely it's trying to harp on the idea of like not just strictly doing the.
Okay, hardly strictly. Thank you for. Yeah. I was missing a word there and I couldn't think of it. So thanks for your help, Kyle.
Yeah.
Hardly strictly bluegrass. Okay, so that's one of the big ones you hear about. But there is a whole society and organizations that support the music. hearing you talk about how much you're playing reminds me of something else. We do a lot of arts and education programs here in our Yuba Sutter area. And there's always this conversation around career technical education. I know you've heard about it, CTE, and it generally is, it's for students that may not want to go to traditional college, but may want to go to a vocational trade school or tech school of some sort. We've got a lot of that happening here locally. And yet we're always making the case that, well, why aren't the arts considered as part of that? Because, I made a living through school as a photographer. I made a fair amount of money doing, side jobs while going to school. I mean, you all are playing like crazy for money, right? And, we're trying to raise the bar as far as getting more attention. And I'm not going to argue the old STEM versus STEAM thing, science, technology, engineering, and math. We're always going, what about art? Let's put the art in there. And it falls on deaf ears here. And we work with the school superintendents on down, so can't fight that battle. But still, you're a great example of young people doing what you love and, hey, making some money while you're at it. Why not, right? Getting compensated for what you love to do. We hired a young photographer the other day, still in high school, and kind of as an intern, we had an event we wanted to document, and came out, did a great job. Little pay gigs like that, I think, could go a long way. And we want to encourage more of that here locally. So, I mean, when was your first paid gig on that subject? Right at the beginning? I mean, were you hired pretty quick? I mean, it sounds like you were able to get up and running. Right after.
Our first gig was it was like May. It's coming up upon a year at this point. It was May 28th or 9th.
I think it was May 28th. Yeah.
Yeah, May 28th of last year.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Went well?
Yeah, it went great. And we were going pretty solid all throughout the summer. It lined up pretty well.
Oh,
we've all been like playing live music on our own and doing our own things, and so we were able to kind of like corral our contacts and our kind of progress we've made and put it all together, and that helps a lot.
Sure. So we touched on some other genres of music. So tell me, what else are you listening to, Sam? What else? I mean, besides bluegrass, I mean, what are your go-tos for these days? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, just so many. It changes a lot, but I do listen to a lot of the Grateful Dead, and they're a big influence for me musically.
Sure.
Some folk and Americana, and also some psych rock and more like.
Oh, I don't know that one. Psych rock.
Or like psychedelic rock, kind of like Pink Floyd, but also,
okay, sure.
I'm a big classic rock fan as well, so generally listen to a lot of that.
And you said you've done some jazz or had interest in jazz as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I played in a few jazz combos while I was going to school for music, and also a big jazz fan too. So
fantastic. What about you, Kyle? What else are you listening to?
All kinds of stuff. I was definitely a lot more strict about it when I was younger. I listened to mostly just bluegrass and string band stuff.
Oh, you were straight ahead.
But in the past couple years or so, as I've gone into the Dead and jam bands and things like that, I've also gotten into all kinds of stuff, like from hip hop to classic rock to jazz, all kinds of stuff. I like keeping an open mind and worrying less about like how it like the genre and more just whether I enjoy it or not.
Yeah. Do you like it or not? Exactly.
Yeah.
Django, Mei Lin, what else do you listen to?
I listen to like a lot of Grateful Dead. Probably too much Grateful Dead.
Well, it's all right. It's okay.
But yeah, and then I love like Fish and the Allman Brothers and kind of stuff in a similar vein.
Oh, fun! That's right. God, the Allman Brothers. I haven't thought of them in a while.
But yeah, and then also I love like jazz and kind of like jazz fusion stuff like that, like Jaco Pastorius.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Herbie Hancock, things like that.
Oh
And then also plenty of like Americana and folky stuff, singer-songwriter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely say singer-songwriter is what I go to after bluegrass or country.
Yeah.
People like Katie Pruitt or Logan
Oh, yeah.
Ledger. Yeah, Sarah Jarosz.
Good
That
stuff.
type of stuff.
Jay, I want to listen to your radio show. I'll learn something every week. That's fantastic. Do you have many contemporaries, like colleagues, friends that I mean, are they support what you do? You must have a following at this point, right? After a year. Anybody making fun of your bluegrass thing? Hey, you're making money doing what you love, so come on along, kids.
Luckily, the community itself, like the bluegrass and the greater community, is such a awesome and very welcoming scene, and there's a lot of people our age making this type of music because it's such a like family oriented type of genre where everyone learns how to play an instrument and everyone plays, and so it's like everyone's kind of on the same boat in this type of world, and we're all trying to do the same type of stuff, and so we all lift each other up quite a bit. It's a really cool community.
I'll admit to being somewhat envious. We're gonna work like heck to sell the place out, and we'll see. I mean, I know we love country music here. I'm not aware in my 13 years of living in this area of ever having a live bluegrass performance. So this will be a first, and we follow things pretty closely. It's a tight-knit arts ecosystem here, but yeah, I'm so envious of the whole Chico scene. I was on a call with Deb Lucero, who's the head of the Butte County Arts Council, and then Eliza Tudor. I talked to her today. She's the head of the Nevada County Arts Council, and I hear these stories about this rich arts and culture environment you all are immersed in. We got a little bit of it here, and it's getting better. And we, I'm not going to say we try to lead the pack. We try to help and support as best we can. But just hearing you all talk, it's just like, oh man, come on, how do we do this here in Yuba Sutter? So we're working on it. We're working, with variety, and we're so culturally diverse, and just like with the mariachi concert, we had a ball with that, and I think we can bring in a good house for you all. Our black box theater that you'll be performing in, we kind of borrowed the name from the Center for the Arts in Grass Valley. Our Sutter Theater is a remodeled 1950s vintage movie theater, and it was called the Sutter Theater for decades, and until we closed it down and remodeled it the last 14 years. And the back half still needs to be developed, but the front half has a beautiful lobby and bar and art gallery like the Center for the Arts in Grass Valley. So we didn't want to just let it be the Sutter Theater like it was for all that time, so we added for the arts. Because it's so much more than a movie theater. We do have a great projector and sound system, but 150 seat black box, live performance space. It's pretty cool. We'll see. And it's a great space. People are comfortable. Big round tables and chairs, and concession stand. We even have popcorn.
Ooh,
love our popcorn. So exciting, very exciting.
Yeah, we're so grateful and excited to be a part of this. It's awesome. We're excited to bring bluegrass out to your area.
No, it's not even that far, right? It's like,
not at all.
It's just down the hill. And what else? Anything else about the concert? Look at that. Great promo shot. I'll be sending out I guess I already sent the press release out. Oh no, that's the image I was waiting for. That's right. We'll get the marketing machine cranked up here, and where was that? I like that log cabin look.
That was in Sierra City at one of the lodges there. It was the Sierra City Resort. I'm pretty sure it's called. That was a really fun gig. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, Sierra Pines Resort.
Sierra Pines Resort.
Really nice. Really, really nice. What else? What haven't we talked about that we should have? Oh, look at that. Look at that bass player.
New band feature here.
Is that the bass you'll be playing? Sam,
we'll see.
I imagine you have more than one.
I think so. Yeah, I have a couple. I have a small quiver of basses.
Yes, I can imagine. yeah, so what people are going to come into this, and we'll have some bluegrass fans and maybe some new enthusiasts. Hey, there it is. That's some of our social media promotional material that Abby and Shantae have been putting out there. Let's see, it'll be, again, you said a mix of some classics, traditional bluegrass plus original compositions. You're going to do 2 sets, take an intermission break, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, that's, I hope, enough to get some people excited about signing up, ordering tickets, which are available at YubaSutterArts.org. Golly, Sam, Kyle, Django, and Mei Lin, thank you so much for being on with us today. Stay safe, be well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Everybody out there, get on YubaSutterArts.org, get tickets. We have been known to sell out, so don't wait. Thanks as always to our technical support team, Shantae Arroyo's pushing the buttons behind the scenes and making us all look good, and our producer Abby Cecina. Next month we'll be talking to Thomas Lozano and Glenda Nelson, who are both part of the Tribal Council of Enterprise Rancheria, the Estom Yumeka Maidu, who recently built, you may have heard about the Hard Rock Casino here in South Yuba County. So that'll be a fun conversation. And our continuing series of Artist Alchemy chats with creatives and artists and musicians and anyone else we can sign up to be on the show. So hope to see you on June 4th for the concert. In the meantime, we'll see you next month for Artist Alchemy.